Where do you go when you're just a kid and you've lost one of the most important people in your life?
I'm remembering my dad who died from suicide.
Who do you talk to?
She was really nice.
Who'll understand what you're going through?
I'm here at camp remembering my dad who died from cancer when I was a teenager.
Turns out there's a place in the Colorado mountains where kids can get together and help each other. Cope with the loss of a mom or a dad, brother or sister.
I'm remembering my dad, and one thing I miss about him is his smile.
It's summer camp for grieving kids.
I kind of see the transition that some of them make. I see kids that come scared or don't want to talk, and then all of a sudden they verbalize and they're chatty and they make friends. Most importantly, they find out they're not alone.
It's a place to laugh and cry, a place to honor that special person you lost.
I missed him and I wish he never died.
And surround yourself with kids who know how you feel.
You got to meet a bunch of people and just new experiences and learning how to grieve.
This little boy should not have to go through this. This little girl should not have to have lost her dad. You know, and some of these kids have multiple losses. Multiple.
I'm remembering my sister who committed suicide and my brother who died because he was sick.
One of the little boys came up to me and just hugged me and said, I miss my dad so much. And I just said, you know what, buddy? I'm so sorry, and I'm here for you.
They're the kids of Camp Erin, Denver.
Good grief, if there really is such a thing. Here is where you'll find it.
Welcome everybody to Camp Erin 2019.
It's kind of like the calm before the storm right now. We're all just like anxious.
No, I'm not nervous. I'm kind of excited actually.
For the 6th year in a row, Colorado kids gathered in Coal Creek Canyon near Golden for Camp Erin.
So I have 3 children here. Abigail is 13, Allie is 10, and Landon is 6. They lost their dad. He died by suicide 19 months ago. He's missed every time we see a truck like he used to drive, every meal we enjoy that he loved, every time my kids hear the word daddy, every night when I close my eyes and the right side of my bed's empty.
Okay, so this is really our first kind of opportunity for you all to remember the person that you're bringing to camp in your heart.
3 days, one heartbreaking thing in common.
I'm remembering my dad who died.
A parent, a brother, a sister.
I'm remembering my dad who died from suicide.
Someone close to each of these 53 children.
I'm remembering my dad who died from suicide.
Has died, often from the kind of grown-up cause.
I remember my dad who died in his sleep.
That is so hard for kids to understand.
I'm remembering my dad who died from suicide.
Listen to their little voices.
I'm remembering my dad who died by suicide.
And this year, you'll hear a common theme.
I'm remembering my dad who died by suicide.
45% of our campers that are here right now have either a death by suicide or an overdose death. One of the cabins, 70% of the campers have had a suicide or overdose death.
I remember my dad playing basketball whenever we're done with school. I remember my dad died from suicide.
It's pretty pervasive.
I'm remembering my dad who died from suicide.
Not only have they lost someone they love, but this person, they often wonder, well, what did I do, right? So they wonder what if they weren't enough, and that's just so complicated. And for a little 6-year-old boy to try to understand what that means is unimaginable pain.
It is difficult for adults to navigate, much less children.
Wait, who in your family did you lose? My dad.
Different campers, different deaths, different dynamics in the cabin.
Can you hand me that pad of, that.
We have 3 campers here who had either a sibling or a parent that was murdered. A lot of drug overdoses, cancer. We have a couple just natural causes.
My dad, he died of heart surgery.
He died from leukemia. a really rare disease, and he died after 6 months of being diagnosed with it.
My dad died of a blood clot that went straight past his heart to his lungs.
But they're here.
This was actually the first Rockies game I ever went to
hopefully turn that grief into something good.
And then you see them here and they kind of thrive.
Do you want to talk about what you'd like to do with him if he were still here one more day, or what do you think that would be?
Good grief.
The first part of the activity is I'm going to show, up in these woods, we've hidden 9 different unique eggs for each of you. So I'm going to go through, and you're going to be...
anything in the egg?
Yes.
Kids learn that it's okay to have the feelings that they have.
Oh, I need one.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, found them all.
We help them talk about the death.
So who wants to open the first egg?
No.
All right, so your hand first.
And sometimes in ways that they're not able to.
What is something you have done that would have made the person you are remembering proud of you?
That's a really good question.
I think that my brother would be proud when he saw me got on my two-wheeler because for like 3 years I didn't get on a two-wheeler. And he died before I got a two-wheeler.
You know, here our philosophy is to use the words. So we don't use passed on, we use they died. We use suicide because that's reality. I think a lot of times there's a protection that people do. So kids want to protect the adults and the adults want to protect the kids. Here they get to talk about that.
What do you miss most about the person you are remembering?
And they get to talk about it with other kids who get it.
Because I remember my brother used to make me do flips, like flipped me in the air and threw me up. And yeah, so I kind of miss that. But I miss the most is wrestling with him and listening to his jokes. Do you ever try to hide that you are scared? Yes, I do hide when I'm scared. And to do that, I usually find a space from everybody else so they can't bother me. Oh God, turn!
For 3 days, they learn new coping skills, take part in grief activities.
Hey, swimmers!
With the help of volunteers who know what they're going through.
Yeah.
Like Nate Smith, who lost his own mom in a car accident when he was just 9 years old.
I just realized how normal I was when I went through it. There's not a magic pill, and there's not a lesson. There's nothing that can shortcut it. If I could go back to my 9-year-old self, I'd just give him a hug and just be there.
Together in grief.
So we're going to do the luminary ceremony, which for me is probably the most beautiful thing to witness.
Surrounded by beauty.
And each camper and each volunteer gets to put their water lantern in the water. It's stunning. It's emotional. Lots of tears. So I'm going to call up one group at a time, and we're going to let one camper come down at a time to put your water lantern into the water.
You know, the water is so still. The sun is just going gently over the mountains, and the music is beautiful, and it's just such a powerful and cathartic space because it's so peaceful, and you're just surrounded with a community of kids that get it.
I would love for you to say who you're remembering and something that you miss about that person.
Where they can take a moment and a deep breath.
She used to take me out to do really fun stuff.
Talk about what happened in their lives.
I'm remembering my dad, and one thing I miss about him is biking with him.
And remember and honor the person they loved and lost too soon.
What I liked doing with him was playing video games with him. And I miss him being funny.
To make sure the glow of that parent or brother or sister never dims.
We used to do really fun things together, like water balloon fights together and hike together. We always used to watch soccer games.
But the most important reason they're here is to learn this.
My special person was my mom, and what I used to do with her was go to the playground.
At the most lonely time in their lives, it's good to know they're not alone.
I'm remembering my mom, and I miss her butterfly kisses before I went to sleep.
Thank you, everyone. So much love floating over there, isn't there?
Happy birthday, dear Asher. Happy birthday to you. My birthday's
Yeah. Grief camp. It may not seem like the most celebratory place to spend your birthday.
The mini chocolate ones.
That's what I'm talking about. You get 2 of them.
But for 9-year-old Asher and his parents, this place really is a gift.
After meeting with Barb, the head of the camp, and talking with her, it sounded great. So even our son was a little apprehensive, but after talking with her, he was fine.
His brother drowned when he was less than 2 years old.
Yeah, I believe he was 22 months when his brother died.
And lately, he's expressed a desire to talk more about it.
They've kept the memory of his brother Cade alive, by talking about him and having pictures around. And
You guys ready to smash some tiles?
Yeah!
Part of walking the kids through their grief is exercises that combine the fun of childhood
So if there's a feeling inside of you or something you need to release or get rid of, write it on this thing. You can draw on it, you can put pictures on it, you can put words. If you have 1 or 100 emotions, you can write those all on this one, okay?
with a very grown-up lesson.
So the tile smash, it's sort of twofold. They get a tile that is smaller that they get to write emotions that they want to get rid of. Like anger or guilt or sadness. And then they have a larger tile that they get to decorate and take home with them.
I'm drawing a heart with dad on. Does that? No. With dad on it, I guess. Because that's my special person I'm remembering. Hi, sad, and miss you. This one I'm gonna keep. This one I'm gonna smash.
And then we take that little tile outside, and there's this big wall that has a tarp over it, and they get to say before they throw it at the wall and smash it, what they want to release.
Come on up to this side.
I'm not gonna say nothing.
What better way to get rid of that frustration? It's a symbolic form of letting go of the bad feelings, and even if they never really fully go away, at least it feels good trying. Yes, it is grief camp, but it's important to remember these are kids. And this is summer camp.
Something very powerful that happens when we're all doing the same thing at the same time.
And it's a place to have fun without feeling guilty about that. It's a place to celebrate the life of their loved one who died. And even celebrate a birthday if you're Asher.
So do you have any wisdom for us on your 9th birthday?
Yes. The derivatives of 6 squared is 12x.
Gotcha.
That's something for all you guys that are watching this video.
Words to live by. Hey, wait, could you tell us what a derivative is? And I'm sitting there going, this is all you've got? Mr. Cool? He just kept going. And he's scary. And then sometimes he gets scarier.
At Camp Erin, Denver, it's clear story time is better when you have a professional storyteller telling the story.
This is weak. You've said scary 432 times. I have counted it. And nothing is scary except you try to do this. Scary, scary.
Children's book author Justin Matat is just one of dozens of adults with a heart for grieving kids, spending a weekend in hopes of making a difference.
It's been really a wonderful weekend with these kids, watching just in a few days the development of being able to express themselves in a way that they otherwise couldn't. And hopefully they'll know that when they go back they can find that kind of support with people that have experienced what they've experienced. And it's hard to be alone in your feelings. I know when I lost my mom, I tried to talk to my friends about it. They had no way of relating to me because they all had moms. And so it was difficult not having some group that I could go to. And so I think that's what this really begins in a child's life, is the ability to find that.
Some volunteers see their weekend at Camp Erin as a way to give back in honor of those who helped in their darkest hour.
I lost my nephew to suicide, and this camp became a very personal part of my stories when his brothers also attended the camp 3 years ago, and I've been hooked as being a part of it, both for my own reasons and as an opportunity to give back to a camp that meant so much to my family.
All right, Gavin, pass the ears off.
Cabin buddy Kevin Thomas lost his dad as a teenager. He wishes he'd had something like Camp Erin when he was young, and learning what he's learned here, he now has a message for his 19-year-old self.
Things are going to be okay over the period of time, and by that I mean we're going to find mechanisms to cope with that loss, and at the end of the day it's going to be insightful and give me, my inner self, I guess, the drive to get involved and do something like this so I can make an impact. Puts everything into perspective, you know? It almost trivializes everything.
Last year, more than 3,600 kids attended 56 Camp Erins at 46 locations all across the country.
Kids are just a joy to be with. That's the beauty of being a counselor here, is you get to really just be supportive. And sometimes they'll come up to you and just tell you about their special person.
These camps are the largest national bereavement program in the country for kids grieving the death of someone significant in their lives.
I don't fully understand what they're going through, but after losing, my grandparents so close together, I can understand what it's like to lose someone that's really important in your life. So I just have greater compassion for loss.
What do you mean, because you can? Because I can't sleep in our room. Why not?
And at each Camp Erin, along with these kids, you'll find dozens of volunteers.
And then my dad told me something about my big brother that I didn't know.
Making a difference in some young lives, just by spending a weekend caring.
And I got up on my bed and I said, hallelujah, I got my brother. And my two dogs are like, whoa.
Hey everybody, I want to introduce you to the small but mighty Klondike crew.
It is the final moments of Camp Erin Denver 2019.
This couple of young men has really just been a phenomenal group of young men. I couldn't even imagine just how much strength you were going to bring to this camp, how much openness.
For the last 3 days, these total strangers with a heartbreaking bond learned from each other how to grieve.
We appreciate you.
Now, at this ceremony, they're learning just what an impact they had on everyone around them.
This little guy is a ball of joy, and he's a trooper.
What they don't know is that on the day they were dropped off at camp, their loved ones had a chance to express their feelings about grief, too. Each adult given a pen and paper and asked to write down what they're going through. The responses are devastating. Sometimes I think the world would be a better place if I would have died and my brother would have lived. I'm more angry at him than anything. How could he leave us alone? Sometimes I wish I'd been a better parent. I didn't realize our time was so short.
And when us cabin buddies were all reflecting and talking about what we'd put for Landon, it was very hard. And what we ended up with was, there's nothing not to like about Landon.
Time. It is the one thing each camper, each volunteer learns the importance of here at Camp Erin Denver.
It's a way to connect to people in a deeper way to give back, and also I always come up with it thinking about what I've learned from the young people. It's not just a one-way street. They're phenomenal people who have things to share with the world too.
Remembering the time they had with their loved one and valuing the time they had here with each other. Lonely no more, because each person here is together in grief.
Camp Erin 2019 is officially closed. Be safe going home.